Hi, everybody. Today I just thought I saw a post from somebody I've known for a long time named Darren Laybourne about being thankful. So I thought today I'd sit down and do a video of people that I've been thankful to know, people that have helped me, taught me things through my career. The people I'll talk about, it's a very small list. The list of people who've helped me is long. Just we don't have that much time in the video, so I'm just going to focus on people that I've known for 20 years or who have helped me over the long run of my career. Um, the first person I'll mention that I'm very thankful that I knew him was Dennis Schnabel. He's the first my boss when I first became a manager. He gave me my first job as a manager, and he taught me a lot of things. But I think the most important thing he taught me was to be myself. He really made it clear to me that if I wasn't myself, I would never be as good of a leader as I could be. If you try to emulate people too much, if you try to, take over people's mannerisms rather than just be who you are, I think you really can't be a great leader. And I've just learned over the years just to share who I am, be who I am, and be okay with that. And I found that I connect with people a lot more uh, by just being who I am. Um, the next guy, he worked for me a long time ago, and he's worked for me off and on. His name's Jason Van Eaton, and early on, he was somebody that pushed. The culture there was get it done. We used to have this thing where we'd go get it done now, do whatever it takes. And one of the things I'll never forget about Jason that I think really endeared me to him is back in SharePoint V1, my team we were on the test side back then. I was a test manager back then, and we had a process that we would follow for checking in our code. We would make sure, and our test code goes into the same repo as the dev code, and we had a process. And this was a long time ago before CI/CD really existed. We didn't have automated ways to check in code. You had to do it all yourself on your box for the most part. And we had a process and a document, and my team was very good, and we actually the ICs on my team I guess made it a little uncomfortable. And back then at Microsoft this was okay. It's not okay now, but it made it uncomfortable for the dev side of the house because they kept breaking the build. And anybody who's in software knows breaking the build is bad. And so the ICs would basically say, you guys aren't very good developers if you keep breaking the build. And I'll never forget this. The dev manager wanted to come talk to my team at my all hands meeting. So I said, sure, come on over. And he expressed his frustration with, why does my team feel like they're better developers? And I'll never forget, Jason stood up, looked at him, and said, because we don't break the build and you guys break the build every day. And I don't think the dev manager thought that was the response he was going to get. But at that point, my whole team sort of expressed to him how they felt like his team could do a much better job of not breaking the builds. And it's funny about a few days later he came to my office and said, well, how can I help get my team to do better? His team then adopted our check-in procedures, and then later all of SharePoint adopted our check-in procedures. It's just one of those things to remember. Sometimes just be bold, stand up, say what needs to be said to everybody, and that's what Jason did that day. And it's just one of those things that has stuck with me over the years. Um, the next person is somebody who I consider one of my best friends. His name's Lance Lindberg. And one of the things he's done over the 20 or so years we've worked together is really help me grow technically. And part of the other thing he did is he's one of these people who his heart, his business acumen's in the right place. He wants to do the right thing. He will do the right thing, and he will help the people around him do the right thing. And it's just one of the things I've loved about the guy. And he's somebody that will push himself too far sometimes, and I've, as his manager, have helped him control that. And then sometimes when I'm being a little harsh with myself, I ask myself, would I say this to Lance? And if I wouldn't say it to Lance, then I try to stop saying it to myself. So it's one way to sort of, not be too overly critical with myself, is to look at myself and say, would I say this to Lance? The next person, his name's Darren Laybourne. I mentioned him earlier. He does a thank you email every Thanksgiving, and he hired me on as a test director in Dynamics a long time ago, almost 20 years ago, and that was really what put me on the path from being a great Redmond leader to a great leader, because part of it was just the team makeup. We had team in Copenhagen, team in Fargo, but really it was a passion of Darren's. I still think it is a passion for Darren, culture, people, and helping people grow. And the team he created, and I'll probably talk about this in more detail in a week or so. I'm gonna do. I'll have been at Microsoft 30 years, so I'll do a little video on that. But the people on that team all wanted to help each other, and it just and it that was the culture Darren had put in place, and it was just wonderful. I've never been on a team that was just more helpful to everybody. One person on that team was our HR person. Her name is Sherry Lee. Um, and she's the one that sort of got the bug in me to read more books about leadership and learn more about leadership. And this was, again, almost 20 years ago. And she used to, you know, back then I would say I was just learning to be the kind of leader I am today. And she would go to meetings and she would point at, nonverbal communication that was happening at in those meetings that I would just miss because I never had been taught to think of those things. And she gave me books to read, and we'd go over things, and she just coached me through a lot of what it takes to be a great leader. And it was just something, I wouldn't be the leader I am today without having her, step up, find the time, and help me, teach me the things I needed to learn. And it really got, from that point on, honestly, I've read a lot of leadership books because I've learned that there's a lot to learn around leadership. That if you just it's out there, you just got to go grab it, read it, bring it in, and grow your skills. So thanks for everybody for listening to me. These are the people over the last 20 years or so that I've been, and the list is way bigger than this, but I've just been thankful to know them. And I hope everybody has a good holidays. And again, go out there and show your leadership.